The series of presentations, tips and strategies. Presentation 1, Teaching Sound Letter Associations. Sound and letter associations are central to phonics, and SMILES emphasizes these sound letter associations, particularly the sound component. Colors and hand actions are used to clearly identify sound. Reading boxes are used to isolate the sound letter association, and each lesson is dedicated to only one sound letter association. In this presentation, there are 4 tips and strategies that will be discussed. The first is emphasizing the separate nature of sounds and letters. The second, the use of word examples to clearly indicate the intended sound. Third, the introduction of sounds in comparison to each other. And last, when preparing presentations and other classroom displays, abide by the color code. Here are some tips and strategies that emphasize the separate nature of sounds and letters. 1. Say the sound when referring to the sound, and name the letter when referring to the letter. Use a full reference which indicates that sounds are made by letters or letters make sounds. Either way, the separate nature of sound and letter is reinforced. So, the blue G sound made by the letter G. Or you may conversely say, the letter G makes the blue G sound. Third, remind students that sounds have different features than letters. Sounds are differentiated by color, duration, and hand action, while letters have shape. Fourth, avoid color by using pencil when tracing or writing. The second point is to use word examples to clearly indicate the intended sound. Some sounds, when spoken in isolation, may not be recognized by the listener and may be confused with other similar sounds. Voiced and voiceless consonant pairs can be particularly confusing, such as p and b. They sound similar, even when you use the full sound letter reference. To assist the listener in distinguishing between 2 similarly sounding consonants, use word examples that are quite different. Using rhyming words doesn't quite help. For example, pin and bin, the sounds p and b still cannot be clearly distinguished, whereas pet and bin are better examples. Along the lines of indicating the intended sound and the use of word examples, it is recommended to isolate that sound, emphasize it, and repeat it. The yellow sh sound made by the letters S and H, as in sh, ship. The initial sound, or the intended sound, is isolated, sh. This emphasizes it, and it is repeated along with the word sh, ship. The third point is the introduction of sounds in comparison to each other. Listening to and saying sounds following each other helps students better appreciate the features of each sound. This helps students, 1, better distinguish between sounds, 2, more clearly pronounce each sound, and 3, better understand the color code, and hand actions. One method of comparison is comparing sound based on place of articulation, whether they are consonants or vowels. Saying the sounds in order or following each other's helps students distinguish between sounds and helps them better identify the place of articulation. For example, p, t, y, k. Saying these four consonants in order clearly distinguishes the place of articulation. The same applies to the vowels. U, e, a, o. Again, when presented in comparison to each other, sounds are better understood, particularly their color and the hand action that comes with them. This reinforces what we just were discussing. Three sounds have been selected as comparison. The short yellow I, as in, the short green a, as in up, and the short blue o, as in on. Note that the direction of movement of the hand indicates the place of articulation. Forward movement for front yellow vowels, sideways movement, central or middle green vowels, and backward movement for back blue vowels. Another point of comparison is phonation. Introduce voiced and voiceless pairs, p and b, t and d. Here we would like to point out that voiced sounds require more than one finger. The thumb is not included in the count, while voiceless sounds require only one finger and the hand action. This is one way to distinguish between the sounds using the hand actions. A third point of comparison is the duration, and this works for vowels. O versus oo. So the short vowels have a short, abrupt hand movement, and they're indicated by a dot subscript. Long vowels have a long hand movement and are indicated with a dash instead of a dot. Abiding by the color code is important because each color has a specific meaning. If you cannot abide by it for lack of having these colors available to you, use black font for all letters. This concludes the first presentation of the series, Teaching Sound Letter Associations. The second presentation focuses on the use of the reading and activity books.